All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium on a Wednesday as the Niners are preparing to go to Philadelphia for the playoffs. Niners and Eagles go Sunday at the Link in Philly. We will be there. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. Locations in Emeryville and Corte Madera soon. In 2026, they'll be opening in Petaluma. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket. Tell them that Krug sent you. All right, let's talk a little bit about Wednesday and everything that happened down here on a Wednesday in Santa Clara as the Niners prepare for the Eagles. Well, Niners practiced today. D. Winters did not practice. He's the guy to watch for this week. Is he going to be able to go or not? We don't know at this point, but he did not practice today. Keon White did not practice today. Trent Williams did not practice today. And Ricky Pearsall did not practice today. Shanahan was asked, hey, did Ricky aggravate his injury in practice? And he said, no, he aggravated it in the Bears game. So he did not practice today. And it'll be very interesting to see if Ricky goes on Sunday. As far as limited today, George Kittle was limited. Luke Gifford with the quad was limited. Yatir Gross-Matos also listed as limited today. Kyle said he doesn't have a rule that a player has to practice for him to play on Sunday. They'll do whatever they feel is helps them win the game. So there's no rules about that. This isn't high school football, that's for sure. We should tell everybody that these 49er practice reports are brought to you by Plank Oakland. Our 49er practice reports are brought to you by our friends at Plank Oakland, the 50,000 square foot entertainment eatery at Jack London Square in Oakland. They just opened the Hub, a brand new sports viewing space with a massive 30-foot media wall with over 70 TVs. It's the ultimate spot to watch every game. Check it out. You're going to really like it. I think you'll really enjoy it. Cool spot to bring your friends from your home or work for a party. They've got a 15,000 square foot beer garden with 49 different beers on tap. They've got 12 lanes of bowling, bocce, arcade games. So it's a great place for a party for your family, your friends, your team at work. PlankOakland.com. Check them out on the web. PlankOakland.com. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. Vic Fangio, according to Kyle Shanahan, is schematically the best defensive coordinator going. That's what Shanahan said today. Shanahan said that they tried to hire him in 2017, but that Vic always was tied to another organization, and they never had an opportunity to actually hire him. He was asked by Tim Kawakami, hey, would you guys have changed your scheme if Vic had come here? And Shanahan basically said, I've always respected Vic's defense a ton. So it sounds like if they were going to hire Vic, they were going to switch to a 3-4 scheme. So it never actually happened. They're in the wide 9, which is a 4-3 scheme. It does make you wonder, though. The Niners seem very tied to their scheme, but maybe they wouldn't have been if Fangio had said, yes, I'll come play for you. Kyle was asked about Kazir White, the newest 49er linebacker. And he said that, he's smart, he's instinctive, and they did have a little back and forth argument because what happened was the Niners cut Kazir's brother, and Kazir in the joint practices between the Niners and the Chargers basically started yelling at Shanahan. And Shanahan acted today like he didn't remember it, but he did remember it. But they're letting bygones be bygones because now they're on the same team. But that did come up, and I asked Kazir about it. He's like, man, why are you going to bring that up? As a joke. But yeah, Kazir White and Shanahan once upon a time did have beef, but that is in the past. Shanahan was asked about Mac Jones and how important Mac Jones has been. He said, no doubt. He said, we aren't here without Mac Jones. He's a big reason that we have 12 wins. And then Kyle said, he really... he might be out of sight, but he's not out of mind, that he acts the same as the starter as he does as the reserve. And Shanahan just said he's been a great addition. And I think it's pretty obvious that Jones has been a great addition. He fits in well. Him and Purdy have a great relationship. And he fits in well. And he's a good player. And the players like him. Coaches like him. Smart player. Kyle was asked about Jalen Hurts, and he said, man, the guy's got a big-time arm, and he's a threat with his legs at all times, and that makes him a very dangerous football player to defend. I asked him about Jacob Cowing, because today Jacob Cowing had his 3-week practice window opened by the Niners, so he can practice for the next 3 weeks. But Shanahan said that he doubt he would play this week. They'll list him as doubtful. He said they like Jacob, but they're going to evaluate him on these 3 weeks, and he thinks it's unrealistic that he'll play this week. But he did have his 3-week practice window open today. So they'll get a 3-week look-see at him, but he's not playing Sunday in Philadelphia, which means if Pearsall's not going to go and Cowing's not going to go, the 49ers have 0 deep speed unless Jordan Watkins somehow gets out there miraculously, and I don't think that's happening either. Shanahan was asked about playing in Philly, and he said, hey, the crowd noise will be an issue. It's an extremely challenging place to play. So the Niners will be ready for that. Shanahan was asked with, what happened in the past there where you have 3 active quarterbacks on Sunday, and he's like, no. We're not going to do something that happened just because, one time in 25 years, we needed a third quarterback. We're not going to activate a third quarterback and play a man short. So the Niners will not be activating 3 quarterbacks on Sunday for this game against the Eagles. He was asked about Bryce Huff and, if he's been impacted by the Bosa injury. And of course the answer is yes. He's like, it's affected him a ton. And Shanahan admitted that the Niners have overplayed Bryce Huff. If there would be one thing that I'd love to see them do, if they could, and that's play Bryce Huff less on early downs and see if you can get a fresher version of Bryce Huff in the second half of some of these games by keeping him fresh on first and second down. Just an idea. I don't know if they'll do it, but I think they should. He was asked about Upton Stout, and he said, man, he thinks Upton Stout's had a really good rookie year. He was asked what he thinks of Juice, and he said, I think Juice has gotten better, every year as time has gone on. I'm impressed with how extremely consistent he is. That's what Shanahan said about his fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Then I had a chance to go in the locker room and talk to some players today. We talked to Bryce Huff. He said there's no extra motivation this week, no revenge, nothing like that. He said he feels good physically despite playing all the extra snaps. I mentioned to him that it's going to be important that the Niners rush in lanes to not give Jalen Hurts any obvious run lanes, and he said absolutely, that's part of the plan. You can't give him any lane to run because he will take it. Jalen Hurts understands that if you throw the ball, there's a chance for an interception. And so if you give him a running lane, he'll take that running lane. And he'll take it eagerly because that's one less play that he's got to put the ball in the air and potentially, have an interception. So he's going to run what he can run. I asked Bryce, I said, why are you such a good fit in this scheme and you weren't a fit in Fangio's scheme? And we talked about it earlier this year, but he said, he just prefers being in a 3-point stance or a 4-point stance over a 2-point stance, like an outside linebacker in a 3-4. He doesn't like to drop and cover as an outside linebacker. This scheme doesn't ask him to drop and cover. He's just an up the field, get the quarterback guy. So this is a better fit. He mentioned that. Then I got a chance to sit down with a one-on-one with Kaiser White before the horde of media sat down. And he said he got the call from his agent just in the last 24 hours, and he's super excited to be here. He played at West Virginia with Colton McKivitz in a 3-3-5 defense where he played this position called the spur, which is a hybrid safety linebacker role. And he's been a really good linebacker. He's coming off a year last year for Arizona where he had his career high in tackles. He said there's no clue if he'll play a lot, a little, or not at all on Sunday. He'll find out more as the week goes on. Granted, I was talking to him before he'd even practiced, even his first practice with the Niners. I asked him, how do you keep your body fresh, as a veteran? He said, hey man, lots of massage, hot tubs, cold tubs, all that stuff. He's a regular there. He says he's a sharper player mentally than he was when he first came into the league out of West Virginia. He basically said Philly, he played in Philly before, and he said, hey, Philly's a great team. And he said he loves playing in that environment. He calls it a really good environment in Philadelphia. And then Sunday, he said, man, it's going to be a battle. He said Sunday is going to be a battle royale, and he's ready for it. So The one thing about Kaiser White, he loves to hit. So he'll be perfect on this defense. Couple other notes, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy were literally tied for the Gary Niver Award given out by the Niner media. Matt Barrows and Matt Mayoko presented the winners, and they were co-winners. They both got the same number of votes. So Mac Jones and Brock Purdy are co-winners of the Gary Niver Award for the year. It's given to the most cooperative player with the media, and both these guys have been, absolutely great to work with. They're very cooperative, so they were very deserving. Purdy at one point said, hey, it's Mac's award, but really it's both their award. We talked to Eric Kendricks, and he said that he believes and has confidence that the Niner coaching staff will get Kaiser White up to speed. He said that Barkley is difficult to defend because he's so instinctive. He said he was asked about his confidence level going into the game. He said, I'm very confident. I'm very comfortable. I'm very confident. He mentioned that there's always pressure, but he trusts his teammates, he trusts his preparation, he trusts his process. He mentioned how it's really important for the Niners to contain Jalen Hurts in the pocket this week. He mentioned how the crowd noise could be a factor and that it's a really cool place to play in Philly. And then he was asked, why did you come to San Francisco? Did you come here for, so you could play in games like this? And he's like, I just had a gut feeling. He said, it just felt right. I wanted to be here. Now, the Niners today elevated Eric from their practice squad to their active roster. Also, Eric talked about, hey, man, it's the playoffs. It's do or die, and it's now or never. He says he doesn't think about any kind of concerns or anything. He just said, hey, you got to trust your preparation. You got to trust your teammates. You got to trust your work ethic. You got to play with confidence. He said, he was asked, hey, what do you guys need to do better from last week? He's like, we got to tackle better. Simple as that. We got to tackle better. Niners missed 23 tackles. They're not beating anybody if they miss 23 tackles. He mentioned that he's played against Jalen Hurts many times, and he's really excited about it. By the way, a couple other notes. Tennessee and Vegas, the Raiders and the Titans are both expected to show interest in Robert Saleh for their head coaching openings. This is according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Shanahan, by the way, has gone up against Fangio 4 times. His offense has scored 11, 6, 15, and 9. The last matchup against Vic came in 2018. Couple other notes. The 49ers signed a player today, Milo Eifler. Milo is short for Camilo. Milo Eifler, and they gave him a future reserve contract. He played at UW, he played at Illinois, he's played in the NFL with the Jets, the Miami Dolphins, Washington, Atlanta, Arizona. He's a 27-year-old linebacker, born and raised in Berkeley, went to Bishop O'Dowd, 6'1", 228, undrafted free agent in 2021, has special teams experience, played at University of Washington, then transferred to Illinois. Good speed, 4.58 speed, real good athlete, and he's tough. This kid's tough. So he's not a this year proposition. He's a next year player, but he'll be an interesting player to look at in the offseason. Philly, by the way, on Sunday, 4.5-point favorites. Where do these teams measure in DVOA? Believe it or not, the Niners have the better DVOA. Niners are 9th in DVOA, Philly's 11th. The NFL Network had 10 experts make their predictions. 5 took the Niners, 5 took the Eagles. Oh, by the way, on Eifler, Hardy Nickerson supposedly got him to try out for football, and then he played for Knapp Kaufman at O'Dowd. So that's kind of cool. There's some Bay Area connections there. Lane Johnson, by the way, today in Philadelphia, returned to practice today. He's coming back from the Liz Frank injury. He's been out since week 11. How well he plays, can he play the whole game? I think that's very much up in question. Niners officially put Tatum Bethune today on the IR, ending his season officially. And one other Philly note, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Jalen Phillips all practiced today in Philadelphia. So there you go. You've got the full rundown. You are fully updated. We are on our way to Philly on Friday, courtesy of Claudaddy Arcades. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sponsoring our trip to Philly this weekend. Check him out. He's got 7 locations: San Diego, LA, Palmdale, Visalia, Fresno, Modesto, Capitola. It's the ultimate destination for claw machine gaming and prize play. he's bringing family-friendly entertainment to multiple communities across California. So he's a great follow on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to find a location near you. Big thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for supporting the Krug Show's trip to Philly. We love you, Claw Daddy. Thanks for supporting us. And we should also tell you, 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description, terms and conditions to apply. All right, that's going to do it for us. Big day down here in Santa Clara. Check me out tonight at 6 o'clock on Niners Nightly. And it should be a fantastic Niners Nightly. We're going to talk a little bit more about the matchup between the Niners and the Eagles. We're going to visit with one of the Eagles beat writers. Is going to stop by, really fired up, to talk a little ball with Brooks Kubina. Brooks Kubina is the Eagles beat writer for The Athletic. He's going to stop by tonight, and we'll chop it up on The Sports Leader, 6 o'clock. And then we'll do a video with some of the interviews that we did from inside the locker room later on tonight. So we'll do maybe a live stream tonight on the Krug Show. So thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.